Hey horror friends, it's Jamie. Thanks for stopping by to scare up some fun with me here at Girl on Gore. So, like many other people, I've been a fan of the Munsters since I was a kid. So I have been following Rob Zombie's reboot for quite a while, pretty much ever since I heard about it, and I'm still kind of on the fence about it. There's stuff I'm really excited about, and I still am not completely sold yet. And I think that might be because nostalgia is a bitch, right? It's hard to imagine a reworking of this show, even though I'm really excited about the idea of that. We just got our first trailer, more of a teaser really, or like a preview trailer for the Munsters earlier this week. And I gotta say, there's a lot I'm excited about, but I also still don't quite know how I feel about it. I think I've watched the trailer about, I don't know, 100 times now, so let's get into it. Right off the bat, we get that great intro music that all of us have come to know and love and just identify with the Munsters. And we get basically a shot-for-shot, almost remake of the original intro, black and white. Basically, Herman crashes through the door, Lily comes on out, and then we got Grandpa at the end. But of course, one of the major changes with this movie compared to the show is that it's coming to us in beautiful color. So after we get the black and white kind of remake of the original intro, we get our three main characters. We get Herman, Lily, and Grandpa all sitting in the couch in color. And Grandpa says, well, what do we do next? Something like that. The color looks great. It's very in the spirit of the original show. And how crazy is it to see a Rob Zombie movie with a PG rating? That's pretty fun. Let's talk about our cast. So right off the bat, I can tell that Jeff Daniel Phillips' version of Herman isn't gonna have the same kind of like childlike qualities that our original Herman did. In one way, I think that's good because you can't really replicate what Fred did with Herman. It was so iconic, and I don't know, I think a lot of that really had to do with the actor, like what he brought out in Herman. It's important that all the actors try not to totally replicate the performances of the originals because you just can't, but I do still want it to have some of that innocent charm that some of the original actors brought to those roles. Of course, you know, there was some criticism when Sheri Moon Zombie got cast as Lily, though nobody was surprised, right? She was bound to be in this project. They always work together. Personally, I think she looks really cute as Lily, but again, I don't know if I'm completely sold on the performance yet. We'll see. I know that Cassandra Peterson, Elvira herself, who is going to be involved with the project somehow too, she actually defended Sheri Moon and said she looked adorable as the character and she really loved her as the character. So I mean, if she's got Elvira's stamp of approval, I'm pretty much on board with that. For me, Daniel Roebuck, who is playing Grandpa in Rob Zombie's version of the Munsters, is my favorite part of the preview. He's really the only one who has dialogue in this particular trailer, but I really think he is bringing his own take to Grandpa while also retaining that great sense of humor. Like, I am living for his performance so far. Of course, there's still no Eddie in the trailer. There's no Marilyn in the trailer either. And we haven't really heard confirmation on Eddie and Marilyn. Although we do know a couple things about Marilyn. Well, I mean, all we know is that Pat Priest, who played Marilyn, is going to be involved with the project. We don't know how yet. We haven't really gotten a lot of news on Eddie or even confirmation that Eddie will be a part of it, though I'm kind of thinking that's going to happen. It's hard for me to imagine Eddie not being part of the Munsters. It did get a PG rating, so to me, it would make sense to have Eddie in it because you want to kind of have a character that the younger audience relates to, and Eddie was always that person, although, you know, kids love every one of those characters. They just have Eddie to relate to. But we've pretty much not heard whether that's been cast, whether that's going to come into play. Again, I'm thinking he is, but I'd love to get a little bit of Eddie news sometime soon. I've been lucky enough to get to interview Butch Patrick, who played the original Eddie Munster, a couple times. We got to interview him with the Dolls of Horror podcast when we were at the Days of the Dead convention. Butch couldn't really spill the beans on anything or tell us a whole lot of details, of course, but he did tell us he was really excited about the project. He said that Rob Zombie had an interesting spin on it that he would have never thought of himself. I wonder what that could be. I still don't know. I can only speculate. Ultimately, I still haven't decided how I feel about the Munsters reboot. Am I excited about it? Oh yeah. Am I gonna go see it like first chance that I get? 100%. I think it totally captures the spirit and honors the spirit of the original. You got some really fun people behind it, and Rob Zombie is a huge fan himself. Part of me feels kind of safer, like having it in the hands of somebody who's a true fan. I don't think he would do anything that, you know, dishonored the spirit and essence, if you will, of the show. That being said, sometimes nostalgia can be really, really tricky to get past. So the trailer didn't reveal a whole lot, but it was fun to see. I'm hoping that we get a little bit of news on the Eddie situation soon, maybe hear a little bit about what's going to happen with the character of Marilyn. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we learn a little bit about the plot as well too, because that hasn't really been divulged. But if you want to get a sense of the feel, what the characters are going to look like, and kind of just have a trip back to memory lane, then definitely check it out. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to let me know how you're feeling about the Munsters reboot below, and be sure to stop by again so we can have some more scary fun nerding out about horror movies and blood and guts and maybe some horror fashion and eyeball torture. You know, just a little bit of that fun stuff we horror people like to talk about. All right, thanks. See you next time.